guide to inner freedom. Steal into my heart of hearts, vanish my guilt. Sri Yogananda, guide to inner freedom. Steal into my heart of hearts, vanish my danger. Sri Yogananda, guide to inner freedom. Steal into my heart of hearts, vanish my danger. Sri Yogananda, guide to inner freedom. Steal into my heart of hearts, vanish my delusion. Sri Yogananda, guide to inner freedom. Steal into my heart of hearts, vanish my delusion. Sri Yogananda, guide to inner freedom. Steal into my heart of hearts, vanish my delusion. Sri Yogananda, guide to inner freedom. Steal into my heart of hearts, vanish my delusion. Sri Yogananda, guide to inner freedom. Steal into my heart of hearts, vanish my delusion. Sri Yogananda, guide to inner freedom. Steal into my heart of hearts, vanish my delusion. Sri Yogananda, guide to inner freedom. Steal into my heart of hearts, vanish my delusion. Steal into my heart of hearts, vanish my delusion.
Welcome everyone. Now we'll have Satsang by Dhyana ji.
Good morning, welcome. Please stand for the opening prayer. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, Guru preceptors, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Layadi Mahashaya, Swami Shri Yukteswarji, beloved Guru Deva, Paramhansa Yogananda ji, we bow to you all. O great ones, fill this satsang with thy presence, thy energy and joy, thy inspiration and attunement. We have come here to commune with thee. Be with us now. We are thine, ever thine. Be with us, now and always. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Welcome again. Today's service is dedicated to Swami Kriyanandaji. It's his time of his birth anniversary. And there'll be a special video of Swamiji, just some few minutes that you'll be able to see today. You'll also be able to go up and offer flowers there and your gratitude and love to Swamiji. So welcome again. Let's start with the chant and meditation. Let's inhale with a double breath. Tense your body. And exhale, relax. And twice more. Tense with will, relax and feel. I will sing thy name, I will drink thy name, and get all drunk with thy name. I will sing thy name, I will drink thy name, and get all drunk with thy name. I will sing thy name, I will drink thy name, and get all drunk with thy name. I will sing thy name, I will drink thy name, and get all drunk with thy name. Om Guru, Om Guru, Om Guru, Om. 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 I will sing thy name, I will drink thy name, and get all drunk with thy name. I will sing thy name, I will drink thy name, and get all drunk with thy name. I will sing thy name, and get all drunk with thy name. I will sing thy name, I will drink thy name, and get all drunk with thy name. Om Babaji, Om Babaji, Om Babaji, Om. 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 I will sing thy name, I will drink thy name, and get all drunk with thy name. I will sing thy name, I will drink thy name, and get all drunk with thy name. I will sing thy name, and get all drunk with thy name. I will sing thy name, I will drink thy name, and get all drunk with thy name. Om Guru, Om Guru, Om Guru, Om. 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 I will sing thy name, I will drink thy name, and get all drunk with thy name. I will sing thy name, and get all drunk with thy name. I will sing thy name, and get all drunk with thy name. I will sing thy name, I will drink thy name, and get all drunk with thy name. I will sing thy name, get all drunk with thy name. I will sing thy name, and get all drunk with thy name. I will sing thy name, I will drink and get all drunk with thy name. Who tells me thou art dark, O my Mother Divine? Who tells me thou art dark, O my Mother Divine? Thousands of suns and moons from thy body do shine. Thousands of suns and moons from thy body do shine. Who tells me thou art dark, O my Mother Divine? Who tells me thou art dark, O my Mother Divine? Thousands of suns and moons from thy body do shine. Thousands of suns and moons from thy body do shine. Who tells me thou art dark, O my Mother Divine? Who tells me thou art dark, O my Mother Divine? Thousands of suns and moons from thy body do shine. Thousands of suns and moons from thy body do shine. Who tells me thou art dark, O my Mother Divine? Who tells me thou art dark, O my Mother Divine? Thousands of suns and moons from thy body do shine. Thousands of suns and moons from thy body do shine. Who tells me thou art dark, O my Mother Divine? Who tells me thou art dark, O my Mother Divine? Thousands of suns and moons from thy body do shine. Thousands of suns and moons shine. Who tells me thou art dark, O my Mother Divine? Who tells me thou art dark, O my Mother Divine? Thousands of suns and moons from thy body do shine. Thousands of suns and moons from thy body do shine. Who tells me thou art dark, O my Mother Divine? Who tells me thou art dark, O my Mother Divine? Thousands of suns and moons thy body do shine. Thousands of suns and moons from thy body do shine. Who tells me thou art dark, O my Mother Divine? Who tells me thou art dark, O my Mother Divine? Thousands of suns and moons from thy body do shine. Thousands of suns and moons do shine. Who tells me thou art dark, O my Mother Divine? Who tells me thou art dark, O my Mother Divine? Who tells me thou art dark, O my Mother Divine? Who tells me thou art dark, O my Mother Divine? Let's meditate now for a few minutes together. Now from Affirmations for Self-Healing by Swami Kriyanandaji on peace of mind. Peace of mind is the result not of money in the bank, but of prayer and meditation. The more one contacts God in meditation, the more he feels descending upon him a blanket, as it were, of inner peace, cooling his body, calming his restless impulses, and thrilling his nerves with ever new delight. Peace is like a weightless waterfall, washing away all worries and bestowing a new glad sense of confidence. Peace of mind is his who knows that God is his only treasure. Repeat this affirmation after me. From pools of inner silence, I sip the sparkling waters of thy peace. From pools of inner silence, I sip the sparkling waters of thy peace. From pools of inner silence, I sip the sparkling waters of thy peace. From pools of inner silence, I sip the sparkling waters of thy peace. And now mentally, from pools of inner silence, I sip the sparkling waters of thy peace. Pray silently with me now. All that I own is thine, Lord. Help me to know thee as the river of peace, running silently beneath the sands of my life's experiences. Om Shanti Shanti. Let's have the lights, and I think Natendra will first do the talk and then have the video. So let's have the whispers reading and then reading from the Gita. Please come forward.
Whispers from Eternity by Paramahansa Yogananda. The poem is Make Me Smile, Millionaire. O silent laughter, smile thou through my soul. Let my soul smile through my heart, and let my heart smile through my eyes. O Prince of Smiles, be thou enthroned beneath the canopy of my countenance, safe in the castle of my sincerity, where no rebel hypocrisy can lurk to destroy thy presence in me. Make me a smile millionaire, that I may scatter thy rich smiles freely upon sad hearts everywhere.
And from the Gita.
This reading is from the Essence of the Bhagavad Gita by Swami Kriyananda. Understand this above all, by surrender of the self-will to the wise, by sensitive inward and outward questioning of the wise, and by service to the wise. Those who have realized the truth will be able to convey their wisdom to you. This stanza is meant especially to be applied to one's own self-realized guru. For those seekers so fortunate as to have been led to one. The plural used here, however, to indicate the need for devotees to honor all enlightened sages generally. Surrender to the infinite God in them, openness to their uplifting influence, and support for that influence are important in helping the devotee to rise above the naturally narrow view of the ego. Paramhansa Yogananda encouraged people to add to the prayers they offer regularly to God and Guru, perhaps to his line of gurus, these words of invocation, saints of all religions. Thank you.
Thank you for those beautiful readings. These are auspicious times when a great saint, master has come to earth. Swami Kriyanandaji was a direct disciple of the great master, our Guru, Paramahansa Yoganandaji. And you could say Swamiji was sent to us. There are many ways one can come to God, but you can't go all the ways. And Divine Mother chooses the way. We don't choose, I like this one, I don't like this one. This one speaks in English, that one speaks Bengali. It's really up to God and your own karma, where you go. And to have been led to such a great soul who lived with Paramahansa Yogananda ji for 3.5 years, and who was willing to serve in the way of going into the world, living in the world, teaching people, being an example, sharing his life with us. That's a great blessing that Master had bestowed upon us, to send this disciple to say, Master saying, I'm not in my body, but here's one who I'm sending to you, who can guide you, who can be an example, who can love you, who can support you, who I can work through to give you everything that I want to give you. And thus was the life of Swami Kriyanandaji. He didn't come for himself. He didn't live his life for himself. His whole life was for Master. When he came to Master, he went across country from east to west coast, and he met Master. In his mind, Swamiji had, I want to know truth, and I want to share. Right off, before he even met Master, I want to share what I learned with other people. So he came to Master. Master accepted him immediately. I mean, that didn't happen all the time. But Swamiji said, I was desperate. I had read his book. I wanted to be his disciple. And when he knelt in front of Master, he said those words, his first words, I want to be your disciple. And Swamiji said, it wasn't what I wanted to get out of him. And he told Master, I didn't come for what I can get. I came for what I can give you. This is his first conversation with Master. So his life was destined to be one of a gift to Master, to all those who Master sent him. And I was there when Swamiji came to India. I mean, he was living in Italy. He wasn't planning. In his mind, though, he always did say from the very beginning that Ananda will have a work in America, to have a big work in Europe. We will go to Australia. And he always said, and this was when people were living in tents and teepees, and there was hardly any running water at Ananda village. And Swamiji had this vision, and we're going to be doing this. And he always did say, and we will go to India. And people thought that's just not going to happen. But at the age of 77, 78, Swamiji felt the call. Master called him. You have to realize he wasn't doing these things for himself. Master called him back. He had been in India in the late 50s, and he got out of that and started Ananda, and Master called him back 40-something years later. And he was looking for everybody here. Master sent him to find his children. It wasn't like Swamiji said, oh, I like India. I remember many times he wasn't well. He was in the hospital. He had surgeries. Many times he said, India is not good for this body. But the last 10 years of his life, he was in India serving. He was writing books. He was on television, Sadhana channel and various ones. He was getting Master's message out. We had a bookstore. We had people touring around. It was like, he was on fire. There was no joke, and he could run circles around all the young people. He had so many ideas. And now where was it coming from? Master commissioned him. You have to know that. Master told him, you have a great work to do. And it wasn't just being in America. And Swamiji, even when we were just there in America, he was touring around the world. He was teaching, he was meeting people, he was spreading Master's message and was teaching Kriya Yoga. And this was his whole life was dedicated to his guru. This is what you've got to understand. It wasn't a personal life, an individual life, a desireful life. I want this in my life. I want that. I want to go here. He said, whatever my guru wants. And he was 22 years old. I mean, how many people at 22 want to serve their guru? Most of the people want to work out their desires. No, I want this. I want a house. I want a job. I want a car. But Swamiji said, no, I want to do my guru's bidding. So he was a great soul from other lifetimes. He must have been with masters. Let's face it, we've been with Master and with Swamiji. And I remember someone here in India asked Swamiji once, he said, well, how come we weren't with Master? You were with Master, how come we weren't? And I loved Swamiji's answer. He says, how do you know you weren't? I rather think I was. Isn't it a better thought than I wasn't? You know, I rather think I was. And I know I was with Swamiji. I mean, it was just too much of a contact immediately. And I met him in 1978, 79. I've been studying the lessons. I've been trying to meditate. I've been trying to stay on the path. I've been trying to energize. And I was by myself. I mean, you might have gone through that. There wasn't a Sangha where I was with another organization at that time. And I kept feeling, but this isn't my family. Where's my family? My spiritual family. I read Master's book and I just got to help this man. And I was so enthusiastic. You can see how enthusiastic I had been enthusiastic my whole life, but Master had to direct that enthusiasm. You know, you can be enthusiastic and just going crazy. And so then I was going to another place and then somebody told me, but no, there's another person who you might like, this Swami Kriyananda. He's a great yogi. He lives up in the Sierra Nevada foothills. He trains you. He works with you. He teaches you. He lives you. This is a Kriya Bond community. And I said, what? I just couldn't believe that. It was like the last part of the hippie age. People were leaving their jobs and leaving the family and, you know, going off. So, and there was Maharishi Maharaj Yogi was teaching there. I learned TM and there was Buddhist groups there and I learned that, you know, and people were, it was totally, you know, Ravi Shankar had come to America and he was playing Indian music and people were, you know, India was coming into America and meditation was just coming in, you know, and there was Master. He said, okay, time to start Ananda. And so we all went there and lived with the direct disciple of Master. And what I loved about Swamiji is he was accessible. He wasn't living in his house. You never saw him. He never meditated with you. He never just waved from, you know, from afar. He was right there, you know, checking on your meditation and your energization and working with you and talking to you and answering your, what a great gift. I mean, you could just have a book and say, okay, meditate. This is how you meditate. Go for it. Who can do it? And the inspiration, there was always a buzz, you know, it was always enthusiasm, people were racing. Everybody was busy all the time. And that's why we want people here to be busy all the time. He had this person doing that job. You do that, you know, everybody felt like, you know, Swamiji was directing them and he was, everybody had things to do. Everybody was happy. We were racing all the time. And that was Master. We lived with Master. That's the thing. We're living with Master. It's not the past tense. It's like now Master is directing Ananda. You just got to know it. So when Swamiji first came, and he was there, and I mean, within 8 months, Master sent him out to speak on his behalf. With 8 months, I mean, 8 months, you don't even really get Kriya over here. So 8 months. Master he sent one of the monks to Swamiji and said, I can't give the talk. And I think one of the centers, he said, send Walter. So he sent Swamiji to give the talk on his behalf. People hadn't seen Master. And Swamiji said, I never gave a talk in my life. And then he said, and also Master wants you to give a Kriya. He said, Kriya, I only have one Kriya, my own. The monk said, well, here's the bus money. That's all they could do. So right off, Master sent Swamiji out there for him. And he said it went okay. Master told him he had a great work to do. He said, your work is editing, writing, and lecturing. And Swamiji said, I don't, he's 22. What did he want to lecture and write and edit? He says, I don't really want to be a teacher. And Master said, it's okay. And I'm sorry, but it's what you're going to have to do. And he could see that, and he said, if Kriyananda had come earlier, we'd have reached millions, because he had the dynamism, he had the Shakti and the magnetism of the Guru. And he wasn't sitting in a cave and quietly. I mean, we've probably all done that in some lifetime, but this lifetime, Kriyananda, action bliss through Kriya Yoga was his name. And so one time Master was speaking to a group and Swamiji had just come. And he was in the back or somewhere, and Master said, and people are coming from all over, and someone just came across the country, they read my book, and they came all the way from the east to the west coast. And so he says, Walter, please stand up. And he's never been called Walter before. Who's Walter? His last name was Walters. So Master called again, Walter, stand up. But why did he do that? He wanted him to know, and people to know, this man is going to do something. He's going to be standing up during this lifetime and sharing the teachings. And so the things I remembered most, and that was so important in times with Swamiji, is one, Master commissioned him to do what he did. The writing, the editing, the lecturing, the thousands of people who he touched, all the books that he wrote. And you've got to know he wrote a lot of books in Gurgaon here. He was living here in Gurgaon. It wasn't Delhi, it wasn't Noida, it wasn't Mumbai, it wasn't Pune. Master selected Gurgaon. And Swamiji had his own house here. It was like boot camp. We had so many houses and so many people racing around. We had the monks at a house and the various ones. And I remember my room was so tiny, I could barely get in and out of it, but we were happy. And, and then before I lived there, Dai and Keshava were living in that tiny room. And there were people under the stairways and we had sheets dividing the basement. And this was like, we were here to serve Master's work. It was no joke. And Swamiji was the boss. And he was like, get out there. What are you sitting here for? Get on a plane and go meet some people. And we'd be traveling around. And it was just, he chose this place for a particular reason. And he wrote several books, the Essence of the Bhagavad Gita, which was so beautifully read. He wrote that in 2 months down the street, practically. You have to know that God came to Gurgaon through what Swamiji was doing. And he would sit and record Asta and Sadhana channel programs, like they were, I think, 20 minutes each or maybe 30 minutes. He did 10 a day. He would sit there and just, wow, all those different topics, one after the other. And we'd be sitting there and one time he said, I just don't feel so good. He didn't feel good. A lot of the times I remember one of the Nayaswami said, Swamiji, why don't you just not do it? And you know what he said? Don't do it today. He said, get thee behind me, Satan. Whoa, did that person move off? Definitely. Because he felt Master wants this to happen. He didn't have that many years left. Let's face it. And so we had a bookstore going. We had Education for Life started up with the school that one of the devotees had. There were so many things going on. And what I loved is his initiative and creativity. And he was always urging you, do it, get out there, do things. And then there was always a level of just joy. And you can feel that. Ananda means joy. Why did he call it Ananda? It's inner joy, but there was always a level of joy. When we get too tense, you pull out P.G. Woodhouse's book, start reading that. And just hearing him laugh, you'd be cracking up because he made it so down to earth. The path was down to earth. There wasn't, I'm in samadhi. Are you in samadhi? Yeah. I'm coming out now. Are you coming? He would just like get to work, do your sadhana and do your seva and have them balanced. He wanted people to be balanced, and the people who weren't balanced, they didn't stay around. I'm telling you. And so he would read those stories, and then sometimes we would go out. This is more in Italy. We go out on boat rides. He'd have on his cap, and it was just like it was so much fun. And then other times we go out to maybe a movie. And he'd bring everybody, whoever, and that was in India as well. Everybody come, there was like 20 people there. And you could tell if he didn't like the movie because first his eyes would close. And that was a sure indication. He closed his eyes and everybody, he's liking the movie. Then he would go. And you'd say, Swamiji, should we go? Yes. When you heard that double breath, it's time to go. And then you'll go out to a restaurant. It wasn't like just meditate. It was like, look at these wild people he had, and he has. I'm looking at all of you, and you just can't say, just go sit and meditate. So he'd go out and have something. I remember he loved Indian food, really, he did. In America and India, everywhere, but he'd just be sweating from it was so spicy. And I said, Swamiji, it's too hot, isn't it? And he says, it's good though. It's good. Don't worry. It just was like perspiring. And then he would buy, people would think, no, a yogi never buys anything. He bought a lot of things. I'm telling you, I was there. He'd buy one thing after the other, and you'd be going, whoa. One time he bought 30 paintings in 1 hour. Originals from Italy for the Crystal Hermitage. They weren't for him. They were for the Hermitage at Ananda Village. One after the other. He just, I want this one, I want that one. I'm so glad I was there because I could see that he had no poverty consciousness, whatsoever. And then he went around to all of us. There were about 8 of us. Now, where's your painting? You got to have a painting. Now, where's your painting? And he just said, you had to have a painting. It was no joke. And who could afford a painting? It was like either eat for a year or get a painting. I remember the painting I had was about this big, and he said, now, where's your painting? And I, what is that? Get a real painting. I said, Swamiji, this is all I can get right. He said, get whatever you want, I'll pay for it. And he paid for everybody to upgrade the size of the painting. That's just how it was all the time. Going out, he would pay for whatever you couldn't pay for. It was just like, he wanted your consciousness uplifted. And anything, he just was, there was a big wave there, you got to know, and it's still there. You got to get the contact. And that's why, we have so many things going on here. There's sharing the teachings and classes on this and that, and get involved in whatever way you can. Come to the center early, set up the chairs, get the altar set up, bring the flowers, bring prasad, anything you can do. You're just going to feel so happy in your heart. That's a long time. People been on the path 30, 40, 50 years. And what did I gain from that time with Swamiji? Energy, joy, enthusiasm, selflessness, focus, determination, thinking about others, sharing, love, joy. It's all there. But you have to have he was the guide. And he was exemplary of those things. And the last point is that how many people give you an opportunity to even serve? You can go to some places and wait 25 years, then you can pick up a book and read it at the Satsang. No, read tomorrow. How about tomorrow? And that's how it was with Swamiji too. He would just say, get in there, get going. And so the golden opportunity of being with a center and these masters who want you to serve right away. I'm looking at Varsha, she's in charge of the choir. And Master didn't care how young, how inexperienced, how new Swamiji was. There was a bond from past lives. And he went with that bond. And there's a bond. You've got to know, it doesn't matter where you come from, what your skin color is, how young you are, how old you are. There's a bond there. And that bond is going to take you to God. I think that's what we have to remember. We have to cling to that, keep trying, keep going, and you'll find that what a blessing Swamiji's life was to us. Just think, had he not been born, had he not come to India, think had we not come onto the path of it, a life of pain, really. When I met him, I was so desperate for help. And I walked into the satsang, there were, I don't know, 30 people or something. And he said, now what's your name? And now I was just coming straight out of Los Angeles. I didn't know anybody there. And I didn't know him. I didn't know anything really, but I knew Master. I loved Master. And I was looking for my family, really. And so I told him, and he says, this is your home. Immediately. There wasn't like, have you read the Gita? Have you read the Bible? Are you a Christian? Are you a Hindu? What are you? There was no question. He just said, immediately, this is your home. And you should think about living here. And I say the same to all of you. This is your home. Master sent us Swamiji. He set up these centers. I remember when we got this place. I mean, really, think of the blessings that have come through Master, through Swamiji, this beautiful place. We have 14 centers now around India. We're online. We have a home study. We have publications of all the books in so many different languages. We have teachers going around all the time. I mean, it's live. Let's face it. Get in touch, get involved, and you're going to feel the energy of Swami Kriyananda. He wrote music, he wrote books, he did the lectures, but more than anything, he was a great disciple. And he did whatever Master wanted him to do. And look what one person with those masters behind them, one person was able to do. You have to be that one person yourself as well. And Swamiji said, it's not, I don't want you to do what I've done. Do what Master wants you to do. But tune into that and give your life to God. That's what he came to show us, how we can give our life to God and be joyful and be happy and be successful and be whatever. But to have that life centered in God, not in a cave, not up in the Himalayas, right here in Gurgaon or Mumbai or Delhi or Los Angeles or Boston. Just be a Kriya Yogi where God has placed you and he will come to you there. God bless you all. And now we'll show about 10 minutes, Natendra, about a 10-minute video of Swamiji's life. We can dim the lights. If you can't see in the back, you can bring a pillow, come sit up here closer. You may not be able to see from that back there. This was shown at Ananda Village on Friday night on Swamiji's birthday. It's narrated by Nayaswami Devi.
Swami Kriyananda James Donald Walters was a direct disciple of the great Indian master Paramahansa Yogananda. For 65 years, he dedicated his life to spreading the teachings and the spirit of his great guru. Swamiji was born in Romania in 1926. His parents were American. His mother told him that throughout her pregnancy was a direct disciple with joy. Lord, she prayed repeatedly, this first child I give to thee. Romania was young Donald's home until the age of 13. At 9, he was sent away to school in French Switzerland for his health. There he lived and studied for 1.5 years. Thus, before he reached adolescence, he became fluent in 4 languages: English, German, Romanian, and French. From 1937 to 1939, he attended school in England. His family went to America for the summer holidays in 1939. They had just begun their return to Europe when Hitler invaded Poland and World War II began. Thus, they remained in America, settling in the eastern part of the country in Scarsdale, New York. Donald, from the age of 13, attended a succession of schools in the East, Hackley in Tarrytown, New York, Kent School in Kent, Connecticut, Scarsdale High School, Haverford College outside Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island. This unusual variety of schooling, with the diverse experiences it offered, helped to prepare him for a life of reaching out to people of many cultures and countries with the message of his great guru, Paramahansa Yogananda. In September 1948, in New York City, the young truth seeker read Paramahansa Yogananda's great opus, Autobiography of a Yogi. He took almost the next bus across America, a journey of 4 days and 4 nights, to Los Angeles, where the Guru had his headquarters. The first words he addressed to the Master were, "I want to be your disciple." Thus began the thrilling odyssey of young Swamiji's life. He was accepted that very day. From then on, he lived in his Guru's ashram on Mount Washington. Only a year later, his Guru placed him in charge of the other monks. Swamiji was to be given many other responsibilities over the years. Yogananda made him a teacher and minister, and had him initiate others on his behalf. Later, he became the director of center activities worldwide for his Guru's organization, Self-Realization Fellowship, and organized many aspects of the organization's work. In time, he became the first vice president and member of the SRF board of directors. His Guru told him, "Your work will be lecturing, editing, and writing." On a number of occasions, Yoganandaji said to him, "You have a great work to do." And after Yogananda's passing, Rajarsi Janakananda, his foremost disciple, told Swamiji, "Master has a great work to do through you." And his Guru told him, "Your work will be lecturing, editing, and writing." On a number of occasions, Yoganandaji said to him, "You have a great work to do." And after Yogananda's passing, Rajarsi Janakananda, his foremost disciple, told Swamiji, "Master has a great work to do through you," then added, "and he will give you the strength to do it." In 1958, Swamiji went to India, where he lived for the better part of 4 years, teaching and lecturing. He also became widely known for his singing of bhajans in Bengali and Hindi. In northern India especially, he lectured to thousands. He met privately with the Prime Minister, Pandit Nehru, who thought so well of him that he endorsed Swamiji's plan to develop a 25-acre piece of land in the Greenbelt area of New Delhi near Birla Mandir. Here, Nehru is viewing Swamiji's painting of the proposed project. Alas for Swamiji's plans to serve his Guru in India. His activities drew disfavor from the leaders of Self-Realization Fellowship in America. His intense desire to make his Guruji known in India seemed to them too original and creative. Fearful lest his activities endangered their own ability to control the work, they ordered Swamiji to return from India in July of 1962. Upon his return, they expelled him from the organization. Swamiji settled thereafter in San Francisco, California, and lived there for several years. He was invited to teach at Dr. Haridas Chowdhury's Cultural Integration Fellowship. Swamiji's love for his Guru, however, kept the needle of his mental compass ever pointing toward serving him. Eventually, through classes in yoga and meditation, he began to share Yogananda's teachings in many places in and around San Francisco. His dismissal from organizational involvement proved not the tragedy it had first seemed, but a release, for it made creative activity possible in accordance with the instructions the Master had given to him personally. Swamiji began writing books and composing songs, the lyrics and melodies of which expressed his Guru's philosophy. He wrote in all 150 books, each of them an offering to help deepen people's love for God and for truth. In addition, he composed over 400 pieces of music. He would often say, "If you want to know me, listen to my music." Ever in Swamiji's mind was his Guru's keen interest in world brotherhood communities, for which he had expressed his enthusiasm dramatically at a garden party in 1949.
He started in talking powerfully about communities. And he said, youth must go north, south, east, west, everywhere to spread this ideal of cooperative communities, world brotherhood communities. And he said, I am sowing my thoughts in the ether, and my words shall not die.
In 1968, Swami Kriyananda founded the first Ananda community, fulfilling Yogananda's dream of world brotherhood colonies. The first buildings were geodesic domes, a shape Swamiji chose for its expansive effect on one's consciousness. Through the determined and joyful efforts of Ananda members, the community began to take shape and to grow, coming in time to comprise some 800 acres of land. Here, about 200 member disciples of his Gurudeva now live. A principle Swami established, with which everyone came in time to agree, was people are more important than things. This means that people's spiritual well-being is more important than projects or anything else. Closely related is the second principle: where there is Dharma, adherence to truth and right action, there is victory. When one makes righteous action his pole star, any resulting hardship will prove in time to be a blessing when embraced with courage, gratitude, non-attachment, and deep faith in God. A spirit of harmony and cooperation has been fundamental to Ananda's success.
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, 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 Shri Ram
Stand now. Let's rub our hands together and send out waves of light and blessings and joy to all those who we know who are in need and out to the whole world. Great Masters, beloved Swamiji, with deep gratitude, love, and devotion, we bow at thy feet. Thank you for our life in God, for thy guidance, thy presence in our lives. Divine Mother, may thy love shine forever on the sanctuary of my devotion, and may I be able to awaken thy love in all hearts. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Go out with joy.